Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. My name is Sean,
And I'm Missy.
and we are going to give you a spoiler-free review of Damian McCarthy's Oddity, which is in theaters. And I had no idea this movie was going to be in theaters. Missy mentioned it a couple days ago that it popped up in Chicago, and I immediately went to my phone and was like, "There's no way it's going to be here in Clarksville. There's no way and it's here." And also, my theater was like half full tonight.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And everybody was silent. It was clearly the people that wanted to be there. There was I
Right.
was eating Chex Mix and I was like totally worried about the noise of the bag.
Well, yeah, because the movies everyone's talking about right now are Maxine and Longlegs in
Yeah.
in the horror circles, or then there's the family stuff that's out right now. But so any like I was not familiar with the movie. I just on Thursdays when I'm off, I'll always look to see if there's any movies I want to see, especially anything horror, which is why I asked. And I mean, and right away you were like, "Oh, I want to see that. That's the dude who did Caveat." And I mean, I really like that movie, so I'm like, "Okay, I'm in." Anybody else I've talked to about this movie, um, who's into horror has not even heard of it. Like, who are into horror as much as we are, has not even heard of it, which is a shame. Um, because this is the movie to see in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the movie to see. I saw it yesterday at 4 o'clock. Um, and I got an entire. I mean, it was one of the little dinky, the like 4 row dinky theaters that they show like the foreign films in. It was
Right.
that theater, but I got the entire theater to myself and had like a perfect viewing experience.
That's awesome.
Perfect, and I was completely immersed in the movie. And man, this movie was fucking awesome.
Yeah. This is if you listeners, if you like Caveat, I feel like this Caveat's like a solid, like in the gap triple. This is a fucking grand slam. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm reminded of like the Soska sisters and like, what the fuck happened between Dead Hooker in a Trunk and American Mary?
he leveled up as a director.
Well, yeah, so he definitely leveled up, but I feel like maybe like a couple level. Like, this is just, and there's so many moving parts to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is kind of the caveat, but all of the function, all the parts service the same function in the story.
Yep.
And this, while that's true, I just feel like there's, like at some point I was like, wait, now who's this now? And then very quickly you understand who it is, and each man, I'm so impressed. I'm just, and also the cinematography and
It's
like
gorgeous. It's fantastic.
the shit that's shot in like almost pitch black is
Mm-hmm.
fucking out. It's like some of the best dark shooting I've ever seen.
Or even the way they use light, because like in the opening of the movie
Hmm.
where you meet Danny and she's got a tent inside this big house they're gonna renovate. It's like in a hallway or something, so it's dark all around, but this yellow tent is glowing and you can see the light like coming off it. And just the way he shoots in darkness, in light, it, it's a really pretty movie. It's beautifully filmed. The performances are outstanding. I don't know the
Yeah.
leading name, but she plays both sisters and she's fucking fantastic.
So that's Caroline Bracken, and I have no familiarity with her
I don't
whatsoever.
either.
She was in a movie You Are Not My Mother, which I believe Anthony from this show really liked. But other
Okay.
than that, I don't like. I'm looking at her IMDb. I don't really know what anything there is. the husband, and he's got a Celtic name that I'm gonna fucking butcher, Gwillem, which is probably like a Celtic Willem or William.
Yeah, Willem.
Everybody in this is so fucking. Oh man, I'm just so impressed with this fucking movie right now.
Hmm. Me too. Me too. I mean, it's the kind of movie like I'm so glad I knew nothing about it and I went in blind because I didn't. I mean, I knew parts where it was going, but not entirely. Like it surprised me. The visuals are good. The performances are outstanding. It's genuinely creepy.
I want to give like a setup, but I don't. I don't even want to give a setup,
Right,
right?
same.
Like,
I don't want to blow anything for anybody, but I highly encourage people to go see it. It's been a great year for horror. There's still a lot of horror in the theaters right now, but if you want to see something different, this is the movie to see.
yeah, I agree. And I feel like I put a post up on Instagram after the movie that's just the poster for stop motion and the poster for this because I feel like there's a kinship there to a degree. And right now, those are duking it out for my favorite movie of the fucking year. I mean, I loved Maxine. Anybody that listened to our Long Legs review, like 3 days after we recorded that, I went and saw it again, and I had a totally different experience with it. There's still some stuff about it I don't love, but for the most part, like I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I'm going back again to see it tomorrow because I took my girlfriend and she fell asleep. She really liked it, but she fell asleep in the last 15 minutes. So I was like, well, I'm not going to tell you what happened. We'll just go back because,
Okay.
I it, I mean, I have a Regal pass the way you have the AMC pass. So
Right.
I I'm going to go see Oddity again, like as soon as I can. I'll take her because she didn't go with me tonight. Um, I'll go
Oh, she'll
see.
like it.
The first thing I said to her, I'm like, this is like, you'll like this movie, 100%. I
Yeah,
know
she
she'll like
likes
it.
that movie.
We
Yeah,
rewatched. Well, I rewatched Caveat.
I
I
did
forget it
too.
was forget it was last night or night before, and she like tried to watch it with me, and she's like, I kind of remember watching this, but clearly it was not like I don't know if it was time and place or whatever. But that is a different movie. And I love that fucking movie. That was in my top 10 of that year. I love that fucking movie.
This is
But
better though.
this is better. This is a more accessible movie. And I love Caveat for being so fucking strange. Like it is
Right.
strange, right? It is very
I
fucking
agree.
strange.
I think it's really cool that the director seems to be building his world though. I mean, because we both spotted not the same bunny, but the creepy a creepy bunny cousin of the one in Caveat, because in Caveat it plays the drums and the one we see in this movie has cymbals. But it's pretty much saying that, you know, they're connected.
It seems like it.
Right. It's a very unique looking bunny rabbit. It's not something you get at a toy store.
Right, right.
It looks like a shrunken head bunny.
What's the Stephen King? Is it the Tommy Knockers that had the bear on the front, the original hardcover that has the symbols?
Monkey shines.
That was a short story though, right? Skeleton Crew.
That's it. Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
Monkey
there you
shines.
go. Okay. Okay. Oddity.
Yeah, it's very well done, very spooky, and I love the without giving it away, I love the gift.
It was the only image I had seen. I had, if I watched a trailer for this, I don't remember it. So I don't think I ever watched a trailer.
I didn't see one.
I knew it was coming. I've avoided stuff. Like I think there's an article in the New Fangoria I avoided. There's Beyond the Void did a review I avoided, and I'm glad I did. And all I'll say is that one image of the gift in the movie made me think this was going to be something that, well, I mean, I didn't really know what it was going to be, but I just figured that would like be a main feature of the movie, and it's kind of not. It's a very, it's a very interesting story. So this movie has a lot of showings in my theater. This is just, it's blown my mind
That's
that this
it. Good.
is,
I would expect it to be there at least for the week.
Yeah, that's what it
At
looks
least
like.
for the week, maybe a second one, but depends on how well it does this week. I mean,
Well,
it's
also Deadpool
it's
hits
up.
on Thursday, and after that,
Oh,
like the
oh,
theater will just be all Deadpool.
okay. If you want to see it, go this week then, because if Deadpool's hitting Thursday, it's going to be out. It's probably not going to be there for more than a week. Um, but it's playing in the dinky theater that shows the foreign films. So if
Yeah.
you want to see
Yep.
it,
Yeah.
go this week. It's absolutely, it's absolutely worth your time. It is the best in theater experience I've had this year. I mean, I know we always talk about what might be on the list at the end of the year, and mine is constantly in flux because I build it throughout the year and then tailor it. And right now it's sitting at the top. But
That's awesome.
I I loved everything about it. It's spooky, it's unique. The leading lady is her performance in particular is fucking outstanding.
Yeah.
Um, there's some creepy occult shit going on, and I was for an hour and 38 minutes. I checked out of the real world and just rode the movie, and that's what I want when I go to the theater.
Fuck yeah.
I want to get lost. So, I mean, if you have a movie that can do that, then I think it's the best thing in the theater right now. And with all the good horror that's been going out, if you have time for one, check this out first. The other two are still going to be there next week.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, let's do spoilers.
Okay.
So, if you have not seen this movie, please, for the love of all that is unholy, turn us off. Like, I really don't want to be responsible for ruining it. Like, this movie deserves to be seen and it deserves to be experienced. So please turn us off.
I'm so glad I knew nothing about it because I had such a good time because I did.
And yeah, absolutely. It reminded me of, it's just a rare occurrence nowadays to go in knowing nothing. And whenever that happens and it's a good movie, it's an even better movie because of
Even
it, right?
better. Right.
Better
Yeah.
experiences.
Nothing except for that you said it was the guy who did Caveat. And I'm like, all right, Caveat was unique and weird. Like, hell yeah, I'm in.
So I definitely I want to talk a little bit more in depth about it for those that have seen it, because I know sometimes when I see something like this, I'm like, okay, somebody's got to be talking about this. And if nobody is,
Hmm.
it's a bummer, right? So okay, ask me. You said you had a question. That's spoiler
I
territory.
do.
Ask.
The movie is called Oddity. So what what do you think is the oddity? Are we referring to the gift or the sister or both? Or, I mean, there are oddities throughout the movie too. Like we see other haunted and cursed objects. Like it's kind of a theme. But as far as, the writer naming the story, what do you think they're referring to?
So this had kind of been in my head when I was watching it, and I hadn't thought about it since. But I will tell you, like thinking about it right now, with you putting that question to me, I think oddity is more a general term to explain the whole like paradigm of the movie, because there's nothing in this movie that's not an oddity.
That's true.
Like absolutely fucking. So okay, so the basic breakdown. If you're listening here, you saw the movie, but I'm going to go into like a basic breakdown just so we can kind of orientate what we're talking about. So this couple has bought this house, and this is Ireland, and I don't know what you call a style of house. It's that like it's like a manor, and it's you
Mhm.
drive into the center, and then the house is it's like a square. Which so one of the first shots, there's an overhead shot. I think it's at the beginning when she goes out to the car. There's a
Mhm.
static overhead shot of so you can see the square of the house around her, right? And the parking spot, like the big parking area in the middle,
Mhm.
that's like the outside, like a giant breezeway, and the car. And I couldn't help wondering, how did they get that fucking shot? Because it's too high to be a crane. And if it's a
A drone?
drone, it's still like it is
Yeah, I know.
100% perfectly fucking still. That was the first thing that caught me about that shot was because there's a moving drone shot before that where they kind of give you like the approach to the house or like the area around it. But that was so fucking static and perfectly framed. I was like, that's crazy. But this couple is moving in to this house. They're going to, like you said, they're going to renovate it. It's old. I mean, it's got to be 100 years old at least, right?
Right.
And the guy, the husband is a doctor and he works late, and the wife is stays there by herself, and they haven't furnished it yet. Hence the tent, which, from a filmmaking perspective, the fucking fact who like I would love to have understood or been privy to the conversations or thoughts that led to how are we going to light this so it looks great. Let's put a tent right here. Like that is such a unique, crazy,
Mhm.
awesome fucking idea. Like a one in a
And it looks
million.
gorgeous. Like I love
So good.
those are some of my favorite shots in the movie. In that opening sequence with her in this dark hallway with this bright yellow tent.
So, so he goes to work and then she's there and there's a knock at the door and it's this guy with this crazy eye and it's clearly like a glass eye that he had like,
Mhm.
drawn a fucking fake pupil on or whatever. But and it's just the simplest setup because she has gone out to her car to get something, come back in, and he knocks on the door and he says, "While you were in your car, somebody snuck into your house. Open the door." And it is the most insane tension. And let me ask you this:
Mhm.
so they cut at a certain moment, right? And
Yep.
then we go forward in time, and they're referencing the fact that she was killed by him.
Right.
So, like, I love this kind of movie where I'm like, oh fuck, so okay, so he fucking killed her. But then it's like, oh,
Right. Did he? We don't know that because you don't see it happen.
you don't see it happen.
Um, you don't see it happen. You find out more later, but you don't see it happen. And it's that opening. That opening sequence is it's so fucking creepy.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
It's
so
so
creepy,
fucking good.
and it's so well done because every at that moment, any person is saying, "Okay, well, you know, how would I react? Would do you because it all comes down to do you believe him or not? He's he's creepy, it's the middle of nowhere, it's stalkerish behavior, but do you believe him or not? and and the story goes from there. I don't want to blow everything, but I feel like there's themes of oddities through the whole thing, but I think it was referencing her. I think she is the oddity.
I think that's also a very good interpretation. She's definitely an oddity.
I mean, and she surrounds herself with odd. Yeah, I mean, she's comfortable. It's like I love her character, the Darcy
Yeah.
character. I mean, the actress does a great job of portraying both. But when she's Darcy, she's this blind mystic who just exudes this confidence. Like, and the whole movie plays on whether or not you believe her or not. Because I mean, we find out, but the doctor, the doctor husband, obviously does not believe in any of this stuff. But she never wavers in her belief, and you believe her. At least
Well,
I
and
did.
did you find there were a couple times early with her where I was like at first I didn't get that she was blind, right? When he first comes into the shop and he's talking to her, I
I
didn't
got it
get
right.
it. And then a couple times I'm like, oh, she's moving pretty good to be blind. And then the scene where the girlfriend is using the forceps to remove things from something, and she
Mhm.
fucking stands up and she's like, "Put them back." I was like, "Dude, this bitch is not fucking blind."
Yes,
But
she was.
she was.
That was different because that had to. I mean, I'm sure she. felt it. It's magic.
Yeah.
And it looked like, I mean, we don't know, but I'm assuming that she is the one who did
Yeah.
that particular
Well,
magic.
she said a witch gave it to her mother. So
Right.
another an interesting thing with this and Caveat, because in Caveat, so you have the niece and the uncle, right? And then the father who
Died.
died, and the mother was like psychic or whatever, right? There's like the scenes of her drawing the circle on the thing and like talking, and clearly her
Oh.
spirit is in the rabbit. That's how I take Caveat 100%.
It makes sense now that you're saying it, but I didn't catch it that way. This is a bit more direct.
This is more, well, it is, but also, so the thing with this that I knew, the image I said earlier that I knew was that like, the wooden man, right? The gift.
Hmm.
And so I thought it was going to figure more prominently into the story, and I was happy that it doesn't. Like
It
it
doesn't.
does eventually, but it's not about that. And I thought it was going to be about that. So I was really happy.
It's about her. You don't realize at the beginning that Darcy is your main protagonist, but
No.
we are with her from the beginning because even before we meet her, her sister is calling her.
Yeah.
Danny,
Yeah.
the one who and talking to her husband about her wanting to have her sister over for dinner and being worried about her and her being odd. She's just a really cool character, and I mean, I got that she was blind all along, because she never actually looks at anything. She looks past things. And I notice it because I'm somebody who's bad at eye contact with strangers, and that's a trick that I will use. It'll look like I'm making eye contact with this person, but I'm actually looking at something behind them because if I look at them, I'll forget what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So I notice it. And she seemed to be doing something. So, I mean, I got that she was blind right off the bat, but I just love that she's confident in what she does. She herself is an oddity and she's not ashamed of it.
Right.
And she surrounds herself with, she lives in a world of odd. And I love it.
Yeah. I love the ending. I thought it
I
was,
just,
oh
I
man, it was
love
just,
I love the ending. Yeah, it's perfect. And then that last image we get,
yeah. And that's all you get. I like
and that's
it
all you
was,
need. It's perfect. Yeah, I have no complaints about this movie. I have nothing
no.
but good things to say about it. Um, I did not look up. I The sculpt on the gift, the wooden man,
So good.
is fantastic. It's creepy as fuck. It's very detailed.
And it's one of those you can, show it, cut away, cut back, and
Mhm.
everyone
Because
watching it is like, did it move? Is
it,
it different?
right, that's what I was gonna say. Did its expressions change? Because there were points where and I thought that it did, but I'm not positive about that.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, other than when it's clearly looking up
Other
instead of
than
looking
when it
straight
looks up.
forward,
Right, right.
or when Ivan comes in, it's kind of sitting like more like cockeyed against the table than
Mhm.
when it was, before. But oh man.
I mean, honestly, how did it get out of the box to begin with? We never see anyone take it out. It's just sitting
Well,
at the
no,
table.
that's the girlfriend, like what she goes into the bathroom or whatever and comes back out, and then it's just sitting at the table.
Hmm.
And I think she says to Darcy, like, why'd you take it out or something? She's like, I didn't. So it's a kind of uncanny valley. Like I feel like that's a new subgenre with like uh stop motion has it, this has it. I feel like there's another big one that I'm missing where that creepy feeling of looking at something that's kind of human looking,
Hmm.
and you look at it long enough and it's just like, did it move? You're just
Right.
not sure. It's so creepy. I love it so
It's
much.
so creepy. Yeah, I do too. And I love that, she gives you that brief comment about that, you know, a witch made it, and that her mother had it.
And her mother's
And
shop, right? She inherited her mother's shop, so her mother was also an
right,
oddity.
right. But are they are they witches, or did they get it from, like, I mean, because I got the impression that it's her magic. I mean, the pictures inside of it are pictures of her and her twin. The hair inside it was white, so I mean that implies that it's hers.
Right. I get the impression, th- well, I think she knows how to use the magic. I mean, it's essentially a
Okay.
golem, right? The thing with a golem, though, that's activated by the secret name of Hebrew name of God, Yahweh Vaheh, like
Right.
inscribed on its forehead. Uh, this is different, but it's essentially like a golem. But I believe, like, my interpretation is the witch gave it to the mother, and there would be instructions on how to get it to
Right.
do what you want, and she knows. So I feel like she knows how to use these occult
Oh yeah, for
objects. So
sure.
so she is kind of a witch in her own right.
Well, yeah, especially since when we first meet her, she said, in her shop, when the husband goes there, she tells him, because he asks about shoplifters,
Yeah,
uh, and she said, "Well, everything in this place is cursed. If you purchase it, we remove the curse."
right. It's basically
But
it's like a security device,
right,
like the
and
chiclets.
right, and she makes a comment about many things that have been stolen have been returned,
Yeah, yeah. You'd
but
be surprised how many stolen items get brought back to me just to get
get
the
brought
curse
back to
lifted.
it. Right. And so, I mean, I took that as she puts the curses on and takes them
Yeah,
off. So she has some. I mean, it didn't look like she inherited her mother's oddity antique shop, and it's full of these cursed objects, but it didn't appear that she had other staff or anything.
right.
So I, when she's talking about lifting curses or cursed objects, I assumed that she at least knows how to do that kind of magic. So I had
Yeah,
no doubt she knew how to use it. Um, I wanted to know a little bit more about it, and I'm glad they didn't tell us because it makes it more mysterious.
yeah.
Like, I love the ambiguity, but the part of me that loves occult knowledge is like, but I want to know more about the magic behind the
Yeah,
scallop. But it 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 it's perfect the way it is.
it is. I agree. It's a perfect
And top,
flick, and it. I just feel like the theater is the best place to see it.
yeah.
It'll
I'm
still be
glad your
enjoyable if you see it at
I'm glad
home,
your
but
theater was full of, you know, people like us who,
so was I. Because I mean,
yeah,
at first I was like, "Oh God, this is going to be very peoply," and then very quickly I was like, "Oh man, everybody in here is like very like there
quiet.
was there was not a single person that was making noise or and I mean normally it's if you especially Friday night 7:50 it's like
Mhm.
but I just luckily I think Twister and whatever else got all
There's
the
enough, yeah, there's enough big mainstream stuff out there
yeah
that's going to draw the masses. And again, the horror crowds, what everybody's talking about is Maxine and Longlegs, and they're good movies, but like nobody nobody seems to be talking about this.
but maybe that's why there were people in there today like maybe it's because people are like I don't know what this movie is like maybe that'll actually work toward because this is definitely I mean I don't watch TV but I'd
Hmm.
be willing to bet you my fingers this is not there's no ads running for this on normal
No,
TV
I'm
right
sure not.
so or on the radio or whatever
But it is another Shutter movie, so it'll it's Shutter produced, so it'll hit Shutter probably in a few months.
yeah. So yeah, that's Oddity. Damian McCarthy, fuck, I can't wait to see what he does next. I really between Caveat and
Same.
this, goddamn, he's got a very, like you said, he's kind of got a world, like he's got a very distinct style and certain elements
Mhm.
that kind of seem to follow him. And
And a unique perspective,
yeah,
a very unique perspective because both movies are kind of like backwards murder mysteries.
okay, so that's Oddity. I won't belabor the point. Just go see it in the theater if you can and support this movie because it's fucking great and I think you'll dig it. And
Right.
if you don't, then we'll send you a gift.
And
And for the Horror Vision, I'm Sean.
I'm Missy.
A pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus MV20 soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive?
The world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure? Murder. From the twisted mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadowplay Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus. Available where books are sold.